Hey guys, welcome back to Melon. So today I'm going to be doing a full face first impressions. I have a ton of makeup sitting in front of me that I haven't gotten a chance to try out yet. So I thought, why not sit down and film? I have a mix of like drugstore and then high-end products, but most of it's drugstore. So we're just gonna dive on in because we have a lot to get started with. So I'm gonna quickly open the Milani Bold Obsessions palette. This is what I'm gonna be using on my eyes today. But I forgot a mirror, so I really hope that there's a mirror in this palette because I need one. Yes, okay, so this is what the palette looks like, and then it has this awesome big mirror. So I'm not gonna dive into this palette just yet, but I am gonna use it for the mirror. So I'm gonna start off with my eyebrows because I have not done those yet. And I have this, what is this? Trestique. This is what this looks like. Mini brow pencil in espresso. So it's like a triangle-y shaped pencil. I normally don't use these kinds of pencils. I like a more fine tip pencil, but we're gonna try it out today. We're gonna see how this goes. So it does have a very nice like pointed edge on the one side. So I'm gonna start off with that and see if I can get some crisp lines. This is gonna be so bad. I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. Okay. So I like to start off doing my eyebrows by just drawing a line underneath here. And I kind of fill it in a little bit here because my eyebrows have like this weird angle going on. So I like to fill that in a little bit. So that's how I'm gonna start off. Ooh, it's like really rough. When I try to draw on my hand with it, like nothing, oh there it goes. I'm like pressing super hard on this. Alright, I think we warmed the product up a little bit because it's going on a little bit easier, but I still kind of have to press down pretty hard on it. So I feel like with this type of pencil, it's really hard for me to be precise. And I kind of end up with just like a block for a brow. I'm not the best at doing my eyebrows. So we're gonna see. The color seems to be pretty warm, so I'm not sure how this is going to match, but we're just gonna keep going. Alright, this product is super hard to use. I'm just gonna fill in my brow the best that I can and then show you guys what it looks like because this is just, it like hurts. Like you can see where my brow is like turning red right here from like scratching the product into it. Ugh. Alright, that's good enough for this brow. It's not perfect, but I'm gonna quickly fill in this brow and then we will move on. Alright, I feel like the second brow went on a little bit easier because the product was a little bit warmed up. But it was still really hard and I found myself having to press it down really hard and I feel like I couldn't really get like a precise application. This one looks way darker. I don't really know what's going on. I think I put more product in this one, but my brow's kind of hurt now. So the first product was a little bit of a miss, but that's okay. We're gonna move right along. And I'm going to move to my face next. So I'm going to start off with primer. And I have two things that I'm going to mix today. Normally for my primer, what I like to do is mix a hydrating product and a more glowy product. And the hydrating product I have today is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Base Hydrating Primer. They have a ton of these primers. There's like so many different ones for everything you could ever imagine. And then I also have the Rimmel Instant Flawless Perfecting Radiant Skin Tint. So this is supposed to be a skin tint, but there were like 2 shades. So I'm going to more use it as like a primer, like a glowy base. And we're gonna see how it goes. So this is what the Rimmel product looks like. It has a very yellow tone to it. I don't know if you guys can really see that. And then I'm just gonna mix a little bit of the hydrating primer in it like that. Rub them together and put it all over my face. So it gave my skin a little bit of luminosity. My skin feels pretty good. I don't see any like color to it from the tint. I have a lot of redness going on in my cheeks right now, so I was hoping it would kind of like neutralize that a little bit, but that's okay. Not worried about it. I actually kind of do. I feel like this product would be really good if you are like at the beach or something and you just want to put something very light on the skin. It does have SPF in it, so that's kind of cool. It's natural looking glow. It primes and perfects. So I don't know, it looks pretty nice on the skin. I don't know that it did much, but it did add a nice glow. So I'll definitely keep trying it out and seeing how I like it as I use it. But I'm always looking for good like drugstore products that are going to give me like a glowy base, because I feel like I have a ton of glowy products from like Sephora and stuff, but I don't have a ton of drugstore ones. So we're going to move right along onto foundation. Sorry, I'm trying to like organize my little table. And I picked up the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. This is the shade 128 Warm Nude. It might be a tad dark for me right now, but there was like no good color matches for my skin tone. Everything was very pink the lighter you got, so I was a little disappointed in that, but we're just gonna go for it and see if I can make this shade work for me. Maybe when I get a little bit of a tan. It's not horrible. It's a little bit darker than my skin right now, but I feel like once I have a tan, it'll look fine. So I'm just going to place this on one side of my face for now. I don't really know how much to use. And then I also have a new blending sponge. So this is the Flower Beauty Blending Sponge. Can we just talk about how big this is? I don't know why it feels so much like bigger and fluffier than the Beauty Blender, but I'm really, really excited to use this. I've heard really good things, so I'm just gonna go in with this sponge. So it's picking up a lot of product, but with a full coverage foundation like this, I don't mind when sponges do that because I'm more of a sheer light coverage kind of girl, so I need a little bit of help when it comes to full coverage. And I think I might have used a little bit too much, but that's okay. So I'm not minding this foundation color actually. It's a little bit more olive toned. My skin normally is more warm to neutrally, but I think it's not horrible. And when I have a tan, it'll look a lot better. So my texture is coming through like right here a little bit. But other than that, it actually looks really good on the skin. It doesn't look overly drying. It definitely is a full coverage. It's a little bit more sheared out with the sponge, I feel like, than it would be with a brush. But overall, I'm not mad at it. It doesn't feel like super heavy and cakey on the skin. Alright, I'm going to put some foundation on the other side of my face. And blend that out. I think I'm just going to stick with the sponge. I think if I were to use a brush, it would be too much for me. So I'm just going to stick blending it with this sponge. Sponge is doing a really nice job too. It's picking up a decent amount of product, but again, I don't mind that. And all sponges pick up product, so that's kind of what they're there for. Okay, so now that it's blended out on my skin, it does look a little tiny bit dry. What's going on over here? On my cheeks. But that is where my texture and redness is most prominent right now. But other than that, it actually looks really nice on the skin. It is a little bit drying for me, but most matte foundations are. But I think the coverage is super nice. Okay, so we're going to move on to concealer, and I have the Kokie Be Bright Illuminating Concealer in the shade Medium Beige. Again, this might be a little bit dark for me, but I got it in an Ipsy, and I really wanted to try it. So this is what it looks like on my hand. We're going to try it out and see. So I'm just going to apply this everywhere, under my eyes, on any redness, around my nose. I have this in massive zit. It feels really creamy and lightweight, which is nice. I've heard good things about this brand, but I don't think I've actually ever tried anything for them. So I was excited to see this in my Ipsy bag last month. And I'm just going to take that same sponge and I'm going to use this like flat side here to blend this in. So it seems to be blending out nicely on the skin. It's pretty full coverage actually. I was expecting it to be more medium coverage, but it's covering up all my redness very nicely. It's sitting well around the nose. It's not getting cakey as I blend it. It looks super nice under the eyes. It's not clinging in any places. And it just blended like super seamlessly. It did a good job at brightening, I feel like, my under eye. I don't have a ton of darkness under my eyes. Thank God. Well, right now, it kind of fluctuates. Right now, they look pretty good. So overall, I actually really like that. I think it's sitting really nicely on the skin. covered up my redness. It looks a little dry in my nose crevice right here, but I don't know if that's because of the foundation. But we're gonna keep going. So I don't have a new powder or setting spray to try out, so I'm just going to use my Laura Mercier powder to set the concealer under my eyes. And I'm just going to take my wet sponge and just kind of press the powder in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray my face with Fix Plus quickly. Hopefully that will alleviate some of the dryness. That's like my favorite way. If you have dry skin or like something's looking really dry on your face, I just douse my face in Fix Plus and it kind of brings back that like glowy, hydrated look. Oh yeah, that foundation looks so much better on my skin now. Alright, I'm really liking that actually. There isn't a ton of like full coverage foundations that I really love, but so far I really like that one. Minus a little bit of dryness, but full coverage foundations always look dry on my skin, so I kind of just take that with a grain of salt, and if I can make it work, I try. Alright, so now we're going to move on to cheek products, or maybe should I do eyeshadow next? Maybe I'll do eyeshadow next. Let's do eyeshadow next. So like I said, we have the Milani Bold Obsessions palette. This is what it looks like. I'm really excited for that gold shade in the middle. It looks really beautiful. But I think what I'm going to do to start out is I'm going to take this shade up here. Ooh, sorry for blinding you. This is Sweet as Honey. I'm just going to put that all over my crease and lid. I'm going to use it as like an all over shade. It's going to go everywhere. That's kind of how I like to start off my eye looks. I like a very monochromatic look. So I'm going to zoom you guys in quickly so you can see what I'm doing. So like I said, I'm going to take this shade right here. It looks super pigmented. I'm just going to start blending it all over my eye. Shade is blending out really nicely. It's pigmented, but it's not too pigmented where it doesn't blend well. So I'm also just going to take my same fluffy brush and run a little bit of this on the lower lash line. I'm going to do this very, very softly. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to take this gold shade right here and pop this on the inner half of my eye, and then I think I'm going to take this like brassy shade and pop that on the outer half of my eye. So let's see, and then I'm going to try and blend them together. We're going to see how this goes. Wow, these shades feel really creamy. Definitely very metallic. I feel like I might be able to build that up more. There's a little bit of fallout with these shades, but nothing horrible. Just taking my powder brush to wipe away some of that fallout. And I'm going to take that brassy rose goldy shade and pop that on the outer half. So I'm just going to take that same, where did my blending brush go? Here it is. I'm just going to take my blending brush and just run this along the edge quickly. Alright, there's a lot of fallout with those shimmer shades. But this is what the eye looks like. You guys can see that. They're very metallic actually. They look really pretty on the lid. I really like those. I just wish there was a little bit less fallout. But I'm going to do the other eye quickly and then we will come back and move right along. So here is what the finished eye look looks like with both eyes. I did really like the shimmer shades. I think they're very intense. But there is a lot of fallout with them, so just be careful with that. And the matte shade, the one shade that I used, was really nice and pigmented. It blended really well. So overall, I actually really like this palette. It's really, really pretty, and it has some really great shades. I love that they did like warm tones, neutral tones, cool tones. I think it's a great universal palette, so I actually do really like this. I'm excited to keep playing around with it, but I think the look turned out pretty decent. So I'm going to zoom you guys back out and then we will continue along. Alright, so next up I have the new Gal Bang Mascara from Benefit. I've actually never tried this before, so I'm super excited to give it a shot. It's a little sample size that I think I got in like a Ipsy or something, or I got in a subscription box of some kind. So I'm just going to curl my lashes and then we will apply it. So this is what the wand looks like. It's really like long and it has plastic bristles, and it also feels like it's very like flexible. So we shall see how this goes. I used to not be a huge fan of plastic wands, but the Glossier mascara kind of changed my mind about that. So here is one coat on my lashes. It actually lengthened them really well, but I wish I had added a little bit more volume. I'm gonna comb through them again and see if I can get some volume. So we got a little bit more volume, but not as much as I'd want. The length is really nice, but I feel like if I were to add more, it would get really clumpy. I just wish there was a little bit more volume, like at the base of my lashes. But other than that, I mean, if you just like length, I think this would be a good mascara for you. But I'm someone who likes their mascara to do everything. I'm a little picky when it comes to mascara, so this is kind of lacking on the fullness for me, but the length is amazing. So on this side, I wiggled it more at the bottom before pulling it up, and I feel like it added a tiny bit more volume with one coat, but it's still not enough for me. So I'm gonna add one more coat. All right, that's a little bit more of what I'm talking about, but it's starting to get a little bit clumpy on the outside here, but it is a lot more volume than the other side. So again, I think if you like a lot of volume with your mascara, this is going to be a really good product for you. If you want more volume, this might not be the best. It is really nice, but again, I just wish I had more volume. I feel like on this side, I don't have volume at all, but I have length. And then on this side, I have a little bit of volume, but not really that much length. So, I don't know how I feel about this. So next up for face, I have a blush and a highlight. I have two highlights actually. Oh gosh. But I don't have any bronzer. So I'm gonna quickly go grab some bronzer and bronze up my cheeks a little bit. And then we'll move on to that stuff. I have two cream products, a highlight and a blush, and then I also have a powder blush. So I'm gonna go in with the cream products first, and then we will layer the powder on top. But I'm gonna start off with the L'Oreal Infallible Long Wear Shaping Stick. And this is in the shade Sexy Flush. Interesting, okay. But this is what it looks like. It's just like this pink color. It's like a cool tone pink. So, oh my god, it's really pink. So we're gonna see how this goes. I'm normally not one for these shades. So for these stick products, I like to dab it on my finger first to kind of warm up the product. And then I like to press it into my skin. Oh my god, this is so pink. Alright, so I'm gonna blend this out with my sponge at some point. I'm gonna use my beauty blender because it's cleaner. It's actually a lot lighter than I thought it was gonna be. I'm actually not mad at that. It is just a very natural, like, blush. At first when I swatched it on my hand, I was like, that's like really chalky and pink. But it actually looks kind of pretty on the cheeks. The pigment isn't super overwhelming. Sometimes in cream products, especially, I feel like the pigment is a little bit too much and you're like, whoa. But this is actually really soft and nice. It's just like a very natural, subtle pink. It's not very overpowering. You can kind of barely see it on my cheeks, but that's the kind of blush that I like. So I actually really like that. I feel like if you are someone who wants a more pigmented blush though, you might not be so happy with that since it is very sheer, very light. Alright, I actually really like that. Okay, I have to check out what more other colors they have in this. If they had like a peachy one, that'd be right up my alley. I think this color isn't really something I would really gravitate towards all that often, but it actually doesn't look too bad on my skin tone. I usually shy away from like cool tone pinks because my skin has no pink in it whatsoever, so they can tend to make me look really washed out, but it doesn't look too bad. So the next product I have is the Covergirl Vitalist Healthy Glow Highlighter in the shade 3, which is, I think, Candlelight? Yeah. So when I first picked this up, I was like, oh, this looks so beautiful, but now I'm thinking the shade looks a little dark, so we're just gonna see. It has a very like whipped texture to it. Ugh, might be a tad dark on my skin. I don't know if you can see that, but we're just gonna try it out. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on the tip of my beauty blender and then try and blend it onto my cheeks. It's like making nothing show up. Maybe a little. All right, nix that idea. I'm just gonna put it on my finger. Oh, it's like super like Like you can like really press into it. Such an interesting texture. All right, I might have put a little bit too much on my finger, but all right, there we go. It's a little bit more glowy, but you can definitely see it on my face. You can definitely see it on my skin a little bit, and as soon as you start blending it out, it like loses all of its shine. It's just kind of like clinging too. Alright, I'm not a huge fan of that. I thought it was definitely going to pack more of a punch, but it's way more subtle than I thought it was going to be. You can definitely see it a little bit here, but when, you can't see it in the camera, but when I look into the mirror, I can see like a distinct like rose gold section. So I feel like if they came out with some lighter shades, that would be better for my skin tone. This might be a good like light natural highlight, but they just don't really have that many great shades. They have a ton of shades that would be really good for like medium to dark skin tones, which is really cool to see because normally that's not the case. But all the light shades are very iridescent, which is not something that I go for. So I feel like they need to expand the shades a little bit, but it does feel like a very interesting product. The texture of it was actually really nice. I just feel like it didn't really do much for me. So on the other side, I'm going to use something else. And this is the Pixi by Petra. This is the Glossy Glossimer Duo in Delicate Dew. And there are two shades here. It's like a bronzy shade and a pinky shade. So let's see. That's it on my hand. And then that's the pinky one. And this is the more bronzy. That might be a little dark for my skin tone, although maybe blend it out would work. Alright, I'm going to try the pinky one first, and then we'll try the bronzy one. Where is my... There we go. So I'm just going to take a Morphe M501. I'm going to dip into this pink shade. I feel like not a lot's coming off on my brush. And then... oh yeah, that's much better glow. Whoa, that's like blinding. That's actually really pretty. Sorry, I'm like looking at it in my viewfinder because the light like is really shining off of it. It doesn't look pink on my face at all, which is good for me. Like I said, don't really like pink things. When I first watched it, it was a little chalky, but on the skin it's not coming off that way. It just looks very metallic. Alright, I'm going to try the bronzy shade on top of this weird shit that we got going on over here. Just gonna try and blend that out a little bit more. Alright, let's just go in. Let's just go. Alright, so this is the more bronzy shade. Again, super metallic. Kind of gives you like that wet skin look almost. It's not like chunky glittery at all. You actually can't really see the bronzy color to it on my skin, which is good. But it's super intense. If you like a really intense highlight, I would definitely recommend this. My face is glowing. That is the punch I wanted from the Covergirl one, but I'm glad Pixi came through for me. I actually think this is really amazing. And then the last thing I have for you guys to finish off this look is a lip product, and this is the Revlon Kiss Woo Cushion Lip Tint in 250 Coral. These really reminded me of the Lancome shakers for some reason. I don't know, just like the packaging and like obviously a lot longer, but like this part and the whole like cushion thing. So I'm really excited to try this out. Look at it, it's so cool. I don't know how you get twist. Oh, so you just, oh, okay. Alright, let's try this. I don't know if this is supposed to be sheer or matte. I'm not really sure. It tastes like a popsicle. It's definitely a very buildable look color. I feel like you could keep layering it and get it to be more opaque. Let's see. Let's put a little bit more on. So that is 2 layers on my lips. It's actually really pretty. I actually really like it. I like that it can be more sheer, or you can like kind of intensify the color. It's really pretty. I also really like the shade. I love coral toned lips. I don't know why. I've been really into it recently. Doesn't really match my eye look, but that's okay. But I actually think these are really nice. It feels very moisturizing on the lips. It feels just kind of like the Lancome matte shaker, actually. The formula is very similar. The Lancome matte shakers dry down a little bit quicker. Those obviously turn matte, but so far this feels really nice on the lips. I really like it. I also have it all over my fingers. But I do really like that. I think I need to check out more colors, especially if they're a good alternative to the Lancome ones, because those are a little bit pricey. I have 3 of them and I love them. So if this is a good drugstore dupe, then definitely need to pick more of these up. So those are all of the new products I had to test out for you guys today. Let me know if there were any standout products for you guys. What did you think? What were some of your favorites that I got to test out today? My favorite was definitely, I think, the highlight and the lip product, and I think the eyeshadow was pretty good as well. The foundation was a little drying for me, but I do like the coverage, so I'm a little torn on that. The concealer was nice, but nothing mind-blowing. This highlight I was kind of a fail for me, and the brow product was really a fail. But other than that, everything was pretty good, so I feel like those are pretty successful first impressions. Let me know if there are any new products you would like me to try out in another first impressions video. I love doing these. They're super fun, so definitely let me know. But thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in our next video. Bye guys!